question for the day is, how many credit cards should you have? It's a crazy question, but somebody asked me that a little while ago, and my answer to that is, how many credit cards can you safely afford? How many credit cards can you handle responsibly? I mean, it's one thing to have one credit card and be able to deal with that and pay it off and keep it in good standing. But can you do that with 2, 3, or 4, 5 credit cards? Can you handle it? That's the main question. The question is not how many should you have. The real question is, how many can you handle? Can you look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, I can handle 2 credit cards. I'm disciplined enough to pay off and handle 3 or 4 credit cards? That's the real question. So look at the credit cards you have right now. If you have one credit card and you're maintaining a low balance, like let's say you have a credit card right now and it's $1,000, and with that $1,000 limit that you have, you're right now carrying a balance of maybe 0, or you're carrying between $100 and $300. Excuse me. Now, if you're carrying $300, that means your credit utilization would be 30%, which is okay. You don't want to go over 30% of your credit limit. You want to keep it under 30, maybe even under 20, or as low as you possibly can, down to 0. So, with that being said, if you have more credit cards, if you have 2 or more, 3, 4, 5, can you keep those credit cards the same way? Are you looking for another credit card because you have one credit card that's maxed out and you want to get another one because you don't feel like paying down that first one? If that's the case, you don't need another credit card, because you're just going to take that same habit of maxing out that card to the next card. And then you may try to get another card. If you're lucky enough to even get another card, you're going to have 3 or 4 cards damn near maxed out, just going down that hole into consumer debt, which is terrible. Consumer debt is horrible. Credit card interest is high. So now you have 4 or 5 credit cards maxed out, and you got to pay all those cards back. That's not a predicament you want to be in. So, like I said before, the answer to that question, how many credit cards should you have, is really as many as you can handle responsibly. You should know within yourself if you could take on that responsibility of having multiple cards. Did you ever watch Spider-Man? Have you ever seen Spider-Man the movie? Have you ever read Spider-Man comic books? Uncle Ben said to Spider-Man, he said to Peter Parker, okay? That was his uncle, Uncle Ben. So Uncle Ben said to his nephew Pete, with great power comes great responsibility. That holds true when it comes to credit cards. Because the more credit cards you have, it's like the more credit power you have. I mean, think about it. The more available credit these banks and credit card companies give to you, that's the more credit power that you have. So these banks and credit card companies expect you to be responsible and pay them back. Otherwise, they wouldn't give you any money. And that's how they make their money off of, people who pay back so much interest, and they stay in business because people can't pay their credit cards properly. I mean, they make their money in different kinds of ways, but they're definitely going to make their money off those who are paying high interest off the debt. So you just have to understand, if you get multiple cards, you have to be more responsible paying them back. With great power comes great responsibility. Simple. Now, having multiple cards has benefits. Like I was saying about credit utilization earlier. If you are maintaining a good balance on your credit cards and having, your credit utilization below 30%, like, 10, 20%, then you can actually, benefit from having another card, because you'll get another card, which will, of course, come with another credit limit to add on to your overall credit profile. So now your credit limit, your overall credit limit and your available credit is becoming larger. So instead of having that $1,000 credit card, now you have another credit card that has another $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000, which makes your available credit $2,000 or more. So now you have another credit card with zero balance, and you have two credit cards at $1,000, which means your available credit is $2,000, which means your credit utilization should be even lower, because instead of having that $1,000, you have $2,000 available credit. The more available credit you have at your disposal that you keep a low balance on, the better your credit will be overall. You should actually benefit from credit score increases. So, if you're good with credit, you can benefit from having multiple cards. But at the same time, if you're terrible with your credit, you can kill your credit by having multiple cards. I know people personally that have 3 or 4 cards that are damn near maxed out, or actually maxed out, period. And it's not a good situation. I also know people that have multiple cards, and they use each card for different bills that they have to pay for the house. And that's good, because they're able to spread out the bills throughout those different cards and maintain a balance on each card that's great for the utilization for each card, which also creates a great utilization percentage for their overall credit. And they pay the cards back accordingly. So that also helps the credit score. So you can use multiple cards in that way if you choose, which is a good idea, because paying your bills back with credit cards is a great way to, keep the lights on, and you could also create a great way to budget your finances if that's what you want to do, if that's how you choose to pay your bills. Nothing wrong with that, especially if you're paying your cards off on time. You're paying your cards off and you're paying your bills. Can't beat that. I mean, I know people that cut up their credit cards because they're blaming the credit cards for their bad credit. It's not the credit cards, it's you. Kind of like when the female say, does this dress make me look fat? No, it's the fat that makes you look fat. You know what I mean? Lose some weight. It ain't the dress, it's you. Stop blaming the dress. Stop blaming the credit card. All right, just get your stuff together, So, like I said, back to that main question, should you have more than one credit card? That's up to you. I can't tell you if you should have more than one credit card. You know yourself better than I do. Look at your current credit situation. Think about your whole financial profile, your goals that you have, in life as far as finances. And I think you can be real with yourself with a good hard look in the mirror and answer that question for yourself. That's my answer. Have a good one.